This is not your average humidifier. Where are you going? I know you're leaving because, well, this is a video about a humidifier, but seriously, don't. You have never seen anything like this in your life. I can't believe it does this, and you need to continue watching, otherwise you will never know what the thing is. Is that a good bite? Was that baited you in? Was it masterful bite? Was it masturbate? These jokes are so stale. Paul Hibbert should be cancelled, if not murdered. You know what other joke's gotten quite stale, don't you? This one. Thanks to Switchbot for sponsoring today's video and for sending me their evaporative humidifier and Meter Pro temperature and humidity sensor. This humidifier uses cold air instead of steam, so it won't soak your walls and spread bacteria, and it works with Amazon Alexa, Google Home, Siri shortcuts, and Home Assistant. Here to unbox it is Paul from the past. Paul from the past, have you gotten over the fact that I slept with your wife yet? You know those hemorrhoids you've got? I'm gonna have a curry tonight. Oh, he's got me there. Okay, so first of all, dude, what is wrong with delivery drivers these days? I just don't get it. Why? How does that happen? Oh, get off. It's a big white cube. That's quite a pointy light thing, I think. Like a little crystal, like you might put in. It's very Star Trek-y, kind of place it in there, it's a data disk or something.
See how I reversed the fields on this, Commander? I made it into a repulsor beam.
Are you seriously not going to say it? Fine, I'll say it. Shut up, Wesley! Get a flapper in there. For this, you will pay a terrible price. For this, you will pay a terrible price. I spend a little bit too long on my own. Now, I told you guys a while ago that Switchbot were planning to release a humidifier that could have its water levels topped up automatically by their Switchbot S10 Robovac. I was actually told about this about 2 years ago by the CEO in a video conference call after I'd been made to sign a non-disclosure agreement. I'm deadly serious about that. I knew for 2 years and wasn't allowed to tell anybody. And the whole time he was telling me about this thing, he was all excited about it. He was like, oh, it's going to butler the water from one place to another. I was like, sounds great. But in my head, I was like, you're a maniac. That can't be done. You have to remember that 2 years ago, we didn't even really have Robovacs that could get their own water from the main supply, let alone then butler it to a humidifier, but they obviously meant it, because here it is. It's doing it! It's happening! It's going to its water station to get water! Go on, get that water. Get it in you. Is it normal that would be this excited?
Several months later.
Oh my god. It is amazing how quickly excitement turns to boredom. Oh. Is it really gonna do it? Is it really gonna do it? It can't possibly do it, surely. And then it didn't do it. I'm Paul from the future. I'm trying to edit my video right now, and I thought to myself, right, I'm just gonna film the one last thing then, and then I can go about my day. I could not be more angry right now. So, up until 24 hours ago, my water dispenser was working just fine, and I think I must have broke it when I walked it to the office to do this testing. It's the last test. Everything else has been working just fine. I've tested the hell out of the humidifier, and I thought, right, let's just film the whole thing of the water getting taken by the robot so everyone can get excited about it. And you know what it did? I went to its water dispenser and went... Then it went over to the humidifier and went... Nothing, because it didn't get any water, did it? You guys clicked this video to watch a robot fill a humidifier with water, and I can't get it to do that one last step. I have run out of time. I have to get on with the next review at some point, and I can't carry on with this one. If I manage to finish this somehow, if I manage to get it working, here is some more footage. Oh, no, I'm guessing I didn't edit anything in there, so on with the next segment as if nothing happened. Now, you can just buy the humidifier on its own and fill it with water yourself like a peasant. Or you can buy their S10 Robovac and have it top the water up for you like a king. You can also decide whether or not to buy the Switchbot meter, and therefore whether or not you're the thing that is going to tell this humidifier it's too dry in here, or whether a robot will do it for you. The level of automation is entirely up to you and your budget. The humidifier, as I've said, is actually worth buying all by itself, so let's take a look at that. Let's talk humidity. Let's get hot under the collar. Let's get steamy in a non-steamy way, because it's actually a cold water evaporator technology. What? So the humidifier uses cold evaporation instead of steam, which is not only more energy efficient, but of course also safer if you have kids about the house, such as I do now as a new father. I have to be very careful that Paul Jr. doesn't burn himself on humidifiers. Wow. As you would expect from Switchbot, everything can be scheduled. You could, for example, set a routine that told the humidifier to lower its power level at a set time so that the noise level won't keep you awake. You can also separately schedule the humidifier to turn off at 8 AM when you leave for work, so the filter would be dried when you left the house, because it automatically dries the filter after every use, which is also quite an amazing thing. Never seen that before. It's got a 4.5 litre tank, which on its most powerful setting will last you 6 full hours of continuous use, and on its lowest setting will last up to 22.5 hours, which is mental. At its most powerful, it can release 750 millilitres of water into the room, which, to give you some context, most humidifiers run between 400 and 600 millilitres an hour, which means it will re-humidify your room much faster than most humidifiers. Faster than the Flash. What are you running from there, dude? Is it the girl that you choked outside of a bar? Is it the girl that you threw a chair at the head of? Is it the multiple children that you've been accused of grooming? Yeah. Ezra Miller is quite the character. Look him up. Why Warner Brothers are still hiring that person is anybody's guess. On its lowest setting, it has a noise level volume of around 18 decibels, and that sounds like this. There's nothing there. On top of this, it automatically dries the water filter to help stop it from becoming moldy. How many humidifiers do you know that do that? But probably the most important factor for me as a cheap bastard is that I don't have to buy new filters. All of them are washable. You can literally take all of the filters out and stick them through the wash. The little isolinear chip in the top of this thing is actually a light to tell you what's going on. And yes, you can turn this off in the settings, and yes, you can set it so it is a softer brightness, and yes, you can schedule it to either turn off or go to a lower brightness as part of its sleepy time routine. If you're not into home automation, then everything you could possibly need is actually presented to you as a physical button on the top of the device too, allowing you to set it running on a timer for 2, 4, or 6 hours, setting the fan speed, and setting the sleep function, which will lower the audible volume of the fans, and either lower the brightness of the light or turn it off altogether, depending on what you choose in the app. The humidifier will of course work with the Switchbot app as a remote control. You can set all the schedules and do all that good stuff in there, and you don't actually need a hub. This is a Wi-Fi based device, and it will connect straight to your Wi-Fi network and will be immediately controllable in the app. You don't need a hub. Except you do. Let's talk about that. And now for the elephant in the room. Don't look at me like that. There's a guy on Facebook who was like, "Ugh, your jokes are getting stale, especially the elephant in the room." Smells alright to me, dickhead. It's not a joke, is it? It's a segment. It's here every week because it's a segment. It's like complaining that my logo is stale. The logo's here every week, the elephant's here every week. These are normal things for a YouTube channel, you complete and utter moron! Anyway, the humidifier is Wi-Fi enabled and will work with Amazon Alexa and Google Home and SmartThings right off the bat. If you get the Switchbot Hub 2, it can be paired via Matter to Apple HomeKit and Home Assistant 2, which is awesome. So it all works with your voice. So what's my complaint? My complaint is that it's not Matter enabled in and of itself. Matter is the latest smart home protocol and it would enable you to connect this thing to Apple HomeKit. This can be done, but you have to buy the Switchbot Hub 2, and even if you do that, you'll only get on-off functionality. I don't think that's Switchbot's fault, the Matter standard just doesn't have any more functionality for humidifiers yet. As it stands, that's all you're going to get, and it's worth noting. It could do with a watertight, locked and sealed chamber for the water. Floppy, floppy, floppy. Floppy, floppy, floppy. Filth! If you tipped this thing over, it would make a horrendous mess because the lid just kind of pops on and off. It's not like a proper vacuum sealed thing. And it kind of is wobbly too. I don't think the wobbliness is itself any kind of danger. It's just that it doesn't feel very premium. This is a premium product, it's not a cheap humidifier. Everything about it is really, really well made, except this kind of thing wobbles about. It doesn't slot into a proper little station. Maybe I'm being harsh. I mean, like I say, it doesn't really affect much. It just doesn't give off the same premium vibe as the rest of the product.
So this is a bit of an issue. If I go to more features and then humidifier settings, and I type to mark the humidifier on the map, I immediately get told, auto add solution has been enabled. Please avoid activating the auto refill function to prevent potential damage to your humidifier. So what that suggests to me is that you can't have the S10 use cleaning solution on your floor and have it top up your humidifier. You can't have it both ways, you can only do one or the other, so that's worth bearing in mind.
Off the back of that then, I'm not scripting this part, I'm going to speak from the heart. I know there will be people in the comments section going, oh, it's so expensive! And it is. It's an expensive device. And I know the second thing you'll be saying is, I can get a humidifier for £40 off Amazon! Yes, you can. But it's not the same thing. First of all, it will be an ultrasonic humidifier. These things aren't natural. They fire water up into the air that contains the minerals that come out of your tap. They're not great because it leaves white dust everywhere. This does not do that because it's using the evaporative technology that I mentioned earlier. It won't have washable filters, it will be something that you have to keep replacing. You're basically subscribing to a humidifier. This is a one-off purchase. It won't have the level of power that this thing has. It's a very powerful humidifier, and it won't automatically dry the filter when it's finished running. It's a huge deal because it stops the spread of mold and bacteria, which then goes out into the oxygen that you breathe. It's kind of a big deal that you spend good money on a humidifier, and if you're about to give me crap in the comments about how you can find them cheaper online, of course you can. This is not the same thing. That's it. The Meter Pro itself is really cool. I haven't really shown you a great deal of that. That thing will tell you the weather for your location, if you've given it your location. It will provide you with the time, the date, your current temperature, and of course the humidity level of your room. You can also buy a CO2 version, which measures CO2 levels in the room and can send you warning notifications if the CO2 levels are bad. It has a siren built in, and it will blast a siren to tell you you're in danger, but also it will send a notification to your mobile phone, which is great if you're out of the house and you're concerned about your kids and your family. Before I'd started this review, I'd never really given much thought to how bad for your health a humidifier could be. Now that I've seen one that uses cold water technology, automatically dries its filter, turns itself off if it gets flipped over, and can be topped up by a robot without me having to do anything, I think this might be the only one I'd actually trust in my house. But more importantly, I'm a cheap bastard. I don't want to buy filters. If you too don't want to buy filters, as usual, there are links in the description as to where you can pick one up. In the meantime, this video was brought to you by these incredible people. And my patrons from Patreon, and without them, I'd still be working in a call center. If you want to be like these guys, or in fact Mark, who I'm thanking personally this week, I'm just thanking him simply because he's the nicest person on earth who's in my inbox just being wonderful. If you want to be like those guys or Mark, you can do that at either Patreon or buy me a one-off beer at PayPal, and either way, I will genuinely love you forever. These are my Facebooks, my X's, my Threads, and my Instagrams, and my TikToks. Come and hang out there and can be best friends. See you next time. What are you running from, dude? Is it Is it that girl that you choked outside of a bar? Or is it that girl that you threw a chair at and hit her in the head? Or is it that time that you burgled a house? Or is it the multiple times you've been bugger. That girl that you choked outside of a bar? Or is it the time that you threw a